Premium bonds are always popular here in the UK, and I think a big part of that is that hope that you could win big. Even though, if you've listened to me talk about this before, you know it is completely down to luck. It is completely random, and the less money you have in there, the chances of you winning massively decrease. But if you do have the full £50,000, the most you can save in there, then your chances of winning, because each pound represents a bond, which represents an entry into that draw, means you've got a greater chance of winning. And it's these people, although not exclusively, but it's these people who are more likely to win big. So what I want to do is give you an update on something I did 6 months ago when I shared with you what 3 of my friends who all have that full £50,000 in premium bonds, what they've actually won over the last 12 months. So looking at January 2024 all the way around to December 2024, each of those 12 draws, how much did they win? What was the effective rate that they got, and how that compared to if they put that money in savings instead, in a normal savings account. And before we get into that, just a quick reminder of how they did, these same people fared in the 12 months from July 2023, all the way through to June 2024. Now, saver number one, they won £1,425, giving them an effective rate of 2.96%. which was not good. That was below the average rate of luck. The average premium bond prize rate was 4.38 for that 12-month period. So they did far worse than that, despite having the full £50,000 in there. Saver number two, they did all right though. They doubled what saver number one got. They got £2,950 in prizes, an effective rate of 6.12%. Really good. And saver number three, well, they were roughly somewhere in between those two. They got £2,225 in prizes, an effective rate of 4.61%, which was a little bit better than the average prize rate. And if you looked at those ones, when I gave that update back in the summer, saver number one and saver number three would probably, and I will clarify this a bit more later on, would have been better off with higher rates, effective rates of interest from normal savings accounts, whereas saver number two, they would have been hard pressed to find enough for 50 grand, enough accounts to get anywhere close to that. So that's what happened. How have things changed? What does the last 12 months look like? Well, let's start with saver number one, first of all. They did slightly better. Though there was 1 month where there was no prize at all, and also a couple of months where the prizes were relatively low at 50 quid. They were generally getting between 150 and 250 quid each month after that, which meant a total wins over the year of £1,850. So they got a little bit more, well, a decent amount more actually, about 400 quid more this year, an effective rate of 3.7%. Now, yes, the premium bond prize rate average for the year was higher, so you would expect them to do better, but it wasn't by much. If that 12-month period, the last time I told you about it, the average prize rate was 4.38. This time it was 4.42, so just a tiny bit more. So their effective increase to 3.7% from 2.96% was much, much better, but still unlucky compared to what average you would hope for with having the full 50k in there. Saver number two, now remember last time we looked at this, they were doing way, way, way better, and that's continued. They've done better again. Over the 12 months, there was 1 month where they didn't win anything at all. There were 2 months where they only won 25 quid. So again, the lowest prizes in 3 months out of all the people we're looking at today. But they also had 2 big, big, big prizes. In March 2024 and in October 2024, they got over £1,000. In fact, October was £1,200. Big prizes, right? That's really nice. And that's absolutely boosted their return. £3,675 in total in 2024, an effective rate of 7.35%. So again, they have pushed things up even more. They are a very, very lucky person. So let's look at saver number three. Saver number three last time was bang average, pretty much. Average luck rate of luck, yeah? Well, this time, they are a super lucky person. I am very happy for my friend because in September 2024, just a few months ago, the prize for that month was £10,075. £10,075. Wow. Again, this is why people often want to do premium bonds, for the chance of winning big like that. I mean, ideally, the £1 million, we'd all love that. But 10 grand for 1 month amazing. And that actually meant their total wins over the year was 11,750 quid, an effective rate of 23.5%. A big, big increase. That's an extra sort of 18, 19%, an extra 9 grand when you're comparing those two periods. Yes, of course, with these things, there is an overlap. 6 months, as both examples are the same, but it just shows you what you can get with premium bonds. The chance of winning big is there. Saver number 3 has done fantastically well. But you've got to remember that as well as saver number 3 did, and as well as saver number 2 did, a return of 7.35 over a year is really good. You know, again, really happy. Again, very, very difficult to do anything like that with your money in savings accounts. For them to do well, it means other people haven't done as well. And despite saver number 1 doing a little bit better, that 3.7% still wasn't good. And this is what you've got to remember with premium bonds. Yes, there is a chance you'll do better, like saver number 2 and saver number 3. But there's also a chance you'll do worse, like saver number 1 and like many, many other people. And remember, we're talking here about with the full £50,000 when you should have the best chances of getting at least close to the average rate of luck. And if you've got less money, then the chance of you getting those big prizes drop massively, but your chance of getting any prize drop massively as well. So there's no rhyme or reason. It is purely down to luck. And I mention this each time we talk about this, but these myths that pop up with premium bonds, you absolutely could apply these to saver number 2 and saver number 3. They both live in London. And a lot of people say people in London always win more, always win the big prizes. And proportionally they do. But that's because, one, there's more people in London. And we know London is people there earn more money. They have more money as well, particularly things like property prices and all that stuff. So they have more on the whole, not exclusively, but on the whole. So that means they're more likely to have premium bonds. They're more likely to have more money in premium bonds, therefore more likely to win prizes. So it's just a coincidence. There is no truth there in that. Equally, the idea that some of them are newer than others, again, it doesn't make any difference at all. If you've got a premium bond, it has exactly the same chance of winning. It's just if you have more of them, then you've got more chance of winning. They often say with this idea that, the newer ones make a difference. It's because people are buying more, therefore they've got more chance of winning because they've been buying more now. Again, these myths don't count. It is purely down to luck. So the results for my 3 friends might take you one way or another when it comes to premium bonds. Some of you might be thinking, okay, I'll give that a go. I like the idea of potentially outclassing the average premium bond prize rate there, as savers numbers 2 and 3 did. Or you might be a little bit concerned and you might think, actually, if there's a chance that I am going to win less than that, and in reality, for most people, they are going to be more like saver number 1 than they are saver number 2 or saver number 3. You might think, actually, no, I'd rather put that money instead in where I'm guaranteed to get a return because it is interest rather than prizes. So how would that have panned out if you'd gone down that route? If saver number 1 had done that, what could their return have been instead? Well, the average easy access rate over the same 12-month period from January 2024 all the way through round to now is about 5.04%. Again, rates are falling now. We know that they're going to be less likely to be able to get that rate, but we're just doing it in comparison, okay? Because premium bond rates fall, as do easy access and other savings accounts, right? So what would you do if you could get at 5.04% for a year? You might have had to move your money around a little bit, or maybe you could have fixed it if you didn't need access. But let's say you did that for the 12 months. What would you get in cash? Well, the actual return would have been £2,520. So not as good for saver number 2 and 3, but much better for saver number 1 and much better for most people. But that obviously doesn't take into account tax, because what you need to remember is that premium bond prizes are tax-free. Now, I know for a fact that saver number 1 is a higher rate taxpayer. So if he'd actually put that £50,000 into a savings account at 5.04% and left it there for the whole year, he actually would have only got, after tax, £1,711, which is an effective interest rate of 3.42%. So actually, well, disappointed as he might be about the premium bond being less than the average rate of luck and being way less than what the other savers got, he actually probably would better off having it there than if he put the money in those other accounts. But it's not quite as simple as that, because you've got to dive a little bit deeper, because you remember that there is the tax-free allowances aren't just restricted to your personal savings allowance. So if you're a basic rate taxpayer, you get £1,000 interest tax-free every year. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you get £500. If you're an additional rate taxpayer, you don't get any at all. That's not the only one that you need to take into account. There's also the ISA, because your ISAs are also tax-free. Any interest you earn is tax-free, and it is a guaranteed interest rate. So again, if you put your money into there and you put your money into an account, but just ensuring that interest doesn't go over the personal savings allowance, and let's say you've got 5% for the year, at a basic rate taxpayer, that's 40 grand they could put away, and all the interest would be tax-free at a 5% rate. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, that's 30 grand you could save in a year, and all the interest would be tax-free. So yes, they would have some money left over that, again, assuming this 50K is all the money they've got. But so the basic rate taxpayer would have another 10 grand they could put into premium bonds. A higher rate taxpayer could have another 20K they could put into premium bonds. And potentially then they could earn more money on top of that again. Of course, it's a smaller amount. It's still a sizable amount for premium bonds, but it's still a smaller amount. So the likelihood of that what they would win, the prize rates, return, the equivalent rate would be lower. But combining those things together, using all those tax-free allowances, probably makes more sense for people if you are concerned, and I think most people probably should be going for the guaranteed amount rather than taking the chance, getting the risk. If you are concerned about that and you do have a large amount of money to save, use all your tax allowances first before premium bonds. Of course, if you're an additional rate taxpayer, and again, you've got a decent amount of cash, then premium bonds is a really good option to go down, because then you don't pay any tax at all. Elsewhere you would. Obviously, ISAs still come into play. But you've got to remember as well, for a lot of people, particularly people with a lot of money, they could well be using up that ISA allowance for investing, for stocks and shares ISAs rather than cash ISAs, because you're only putting 20K of new money in every year, in which case, again, it reduces how much you can put that money on elsewhere. But the important thing to remember here, it is going to vary for everyone. If you want to make sure you are getting the best guaranteed rate, remember to go to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings, whereas myself and the team, every day, twice a day, we are looking for all the best options out there. Whether it's easy access or fixes or notice or regular savers, an ISA, whatever it is, you'll find the best rates there. And then it's up for you to decide if that guaranteed amount of money you're going to get over a year, based on those rates, is too much to risk losing, or whether you want to give premium bonds a go and potentially be as lucky as saver number 3 this time round. I hope to do another update on this in 6 months as well. Let's see if my friends keep their cash in premium bonds. And if they do, I'll let you know exactly how things have panned out there for them. Do let me know in the comments below how your premium bonds have fared for you in 2024. Have you won big? Has it not worked out at all? Are you going to keep them into 2025? I'd love to know. My name's Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.